Rock Spring Financial Group is the premier local Maryland mortgage brokerage firm. They are known for the hometown feel with a customer experience level that is unrivaled. They specialize in all home loan types, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA, and debt consolidation. Rock Spring covers it all. So when you're tired of issues with online mortgage shopping and want the human touch, look no further than Rock Spring Financial Group, LLC. Give Rick Metzger a call or visit them at rockspringfinancial.com.
I'm sitting here today with Philip Hosmer, who is the founder and executive director of a local nonprofit, correct?
That's correct.
Called Nature Worx. And when he contacted me by email and I went to the website, it's like, I don't know how I did not talk to you before, because everything you guys do to me is simply amazing. So let's go ahead and start there. First of all, tell everybody what Nature Worx actually is.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Rich, for having me on your program.
Oh, my pleasure.
You're doing a great service for Harford County to bring folks in to talk about some of the interesting things going on. So thank you for having us on today. So just short and sweet, Nature Worx, as you said, is a nonprofit organization. We're based right here in Bel Air. We provide programs that actually help people learn ways to connect with nature in a very intentional, mindful way, with the goal being they're going to actually take in the healing properties of nature for their physical, mental, and spiritual health. There's a lot of studies that show that being in nature is really good for human beings. But unfortunately, with the way modern lifestyles are, most people are indoors, Rich. In fact, the average person's indoors 93% of the day. So what we're really trying to do is get people back outside,
enjoy that fresh air.
Enjoy the fresh air, right, and reconnect with what's really good outside and make it fun so people will want to do it again. So we're really trying to ultimately inspire behavior change by showing people really concrete ways to connect with nature using all of your senses. You can even do what we practice right in your backyard. You don't have to go to a park to do what we do. So that's kind of it in a big picture sense.
Right. Well, and I love the fact, because you have on there on your website, which is Nature Worx, works with an X, WORX.org, correct?
Yeah.
But you have on there the benefits. And I think a lot of people don't realize the benefits of going outside. So can you explain the different benefits? Because I think once people hear that, they'll realize, hey, if this is going to lower my blood pressure and help with my immune, especially the immune function after what we just went through, I think a lot of people need to know about this again.
Exactly. I mean, you said it earlier, to go out and get fresh air. That's the simple way we used to think about it in the old days, was, oh, go outside and get some fresh air. You'll feel better, right? And that was kind of what your mom would tell you to do. You were go outside and take a walk. Well, mom knew what she was talking about.
Yes. Yep.
Because what happened was science caught up to mom, and science started to study concrete examples of how nature helps people, right? And there's a lot of evidence out there, and we have a lot of it on our website. But just to break it down, so physically, what happens when you go outside and spend time in nature, quietly, reflecting, moving through nature slowly, is your blood pressure drops, as you just mentioned, which is really good for your overall health. Your heart rate also slows down. The heart rate is another key indicator of stress levels. So your heart rate will slow down. And the stress hormone, which is called cortisol, which is what happens when we get a stressful email or text or phone call. Cortisol goes up, right? And you feel yourself get tense. Well, when you go outside, that cortisol level also drops.
Right.
Which is a really good reaction your body has to being outdoors. And at the same time that cortisol is lowering, you're getting an increase of this really good chemical called serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter hormone that is related to overall feelings of safety and comfort and relaxation, right? Serotonin leads to all of those good outcomes. So you get a really good chemical reaction in your body, in your mind. And if you want to look at it from a more of a psychological well-being standpoint, having the serotonin go up and the cortisol goes down tends to improve your mood. So
Yeah.
if you're feeling anxious or stressed or even depressed, those symptoms can be mitigated somewhat just by spending some really quality time outdoors. You don't have to spend hours and hours going for a 10-mile hike. You can get a 20-minute dose one day, one time a day is what they say is really a minimal amount that is effective.
Right.
Um, and then looking at it from a more spiritual level, you can look at being outdoors as connecting with something larger than yourself,
Hmm.
right? Whatever your own concept of that may be. You may have your own concept of God that nature brings you closer to. That's fantastic. Your concept may be more about the universe and about higher consciousness. That's also great. Whatever your concept of spirituality is, nature can bring you in closer touch with that. So that's also really healthy for us to have a spiritual connection, a connection to something larger than ourselves. So those are kind of the three categories that there's a lot of science behind this, how nature helps your mental, your physical, and your spiritual health.
And we talked earlier before we started recording because I just had Christine K on and we talked about
Mhm.
meditation was one of the things we talked about.
Yeah.
You take that 20 minutes, go outside, and if you don't want to read a book, if you don't know what to do, just meditate. And I think that helps even more because you're breathing it in, you're taking it all in, but at the same time, it's doing so much for your mental health. And God knows the way the world's been lately, we all need that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very stressful last couple of years, to say the least. Um,
Yes.
so
Yes.
if you can develop ways to take care of that on your own, right, that don't
Yeah.
involve some negative behaviors. Some people tend to drink alcohol when they're going through tough times, or they overeat, or they just sit on the couch all day and watch TV. These are
Mhm.
unhealthy ways of coping. But you mentioned meditation. A lot of people are intimidated by that word because I think you have to be a Buddhist monk, sitting there like this, and meditate.
Exactly.
And that could be intimidating, right? It's kind of foreign to most people. But the way I frame meditation is more about just giving your mind a little bit of a break. Is really what we're trying to do there. And what I mean by that is not fighting the thoughts as they come in, because your brain is going to be thinking, right? That's what brains do.
Mhm.
Um, the problems can happen when the brain gets in this cycle of rumination, where you start worrying about the future or worrying about the past, and it really takes you away from enjoying the present moment. So
Yeah.
what meditation can help us do is say, okay, I see you thought. I see that you're thinking about tomorrow. I'm going to let you go now. I acknowledge you. Here's a thought. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to come back over to the center. Another thought comes in about something you did in the past you worried about. I see you. I'm going to let you go. So it's not fighting the thoughts. It's more about acknowledging them and then letting go. And in that process of letting go, you give your mind a break from that constant, boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
The thoughts keep coming in and it gets really tiring. I mean, I'm guilty of that myself. If I let my mind do its thing and don't try to modify it at all, my mind is always worrying, right? It's almost human nature.
Now, you guys actually do courses or classes, right? What, the first Saturday of every month to teach people all these things?
We do. Yeah, we do a free session open to anyone. The first Saturday of every month. Our next one is coming up October the 1st. It might be almost sold out, however, but we're going to be doing another one on November the 5th. So the first Saturday of every month, if you go to our natureworx.org website, there's an events tab. Open up the events tab, find a date that works for you, and then you sign up right on the website. There's a meetup group that we have. If you're familiar with meetup.com, we have a
Mhm.
group with about 500 members. And once you join that meetup group, you're eligible to sign up. But yeah, in those sessions, we basically show people in a 90-minute program, 10 or 15 different ways you can simply and effectively connect with nature and let your mind and body get a bit of a rest. So we find that people find this really useful to take with them. It's almost like they're learning self-care techniques, and nature is their ally in taking care of themselves. So they see nature in a bit of a different way
Right.
sometimes.
And I love the tagline, de-stress and connect with nature.
Yeah, I
For
mean that's
that.
good.
Yeah, and it definitely is going to relieve the stress.
Yeah, I mean a
Ooh.
lot of people who come out with us say that they like going hiking or fishing or biking,
Mhm.
and they do all that stuff, and that's all great stuff to do. I actually do all that myself. And what we teach them are things that they can layer on to those activities. So, for example, if you're out there fishing one day and you're out there with, with your line in the water, you can actually practice some of these techniques while you're fishing,
Yep.
get a little bit deeper into the experience. Same thing as if you're in a boat or you're hiking, you can take a break when you're hiking and do some of these
Mhm.
activities, or if you're biking. So we feel like we add sort of another layer or depth to what people may be already doing. And then we have other folks who come out with us who don't get outside much at all. And for them, it's really trying to show them that, hey, it's not a scary place. There's actually a lot of benefits to being outside. So we have people of different levels who come out with us to those public sessions, and everybody is welcome. Whether you're afraid of nature or you love going hiking every week or whatever, we think we're going to offer you something that will, deepen your experience out there.
And you guys do them not just in Harford County, but you do that throughout, right?
We do. We have a lot of clients here in Harford County, but we also have clients in Baltimore County,
Mhm.
Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County. So yeah, we pretty much serve, the greater Baltimore area.
So it's good you're able to go out and find all these different areas to actually do that.
Yeah, there's some amazing parks around here. Some of them
Yeah.
probably haven't even heard of that we've discovered just because we searched out the best spots. But Baltimore, we're really fortunate in this area, Harford County especially.
Yeah.
There's so many great natural areas, Rich. I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of them. There's so many great areas out here that people can go to connect even on a deeper way to nature. You probably have
Mhm.
some of your own favorites in Harford County. I know I do.
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of 'em. Hopefully some hidden spots that nobody found yet too.
Yeah, you don't want to mention all your favorites, right? At least not on the air here.
I
Um,
just and the thing is, I mean, back in the day when I was younger, I could get about it, but I used to love going out into the woods and just laying down and just taking it all in. And now I'm afraid if I did that, I wouldn't be able to get up off the ground. But I mean, actually, something very important. I should have asked you in the beginning. How did you come about finding Nature Works and put it together?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story. I mean, when I was growing up, I grew up in Towson, and my
Okay.
dad would take us out camping and hiking a lot as a family because he really loved to do it. And I just took to it big time. I loved it. And it got to the point where I loved being outside so much. And my mother would have to search for me to bring me in for dinner at night because I was out, you know, playing with my friends out in the woods or playing ball or whatever. And so I always felt better outside, Rich. And I
Yeah.
never really thought much about it. That was just how it was. I don't know if you were like that growing up or
Oh,
not.
yes. We were told to go outside.
You were told to go outside, right? You
Yes.
wouldn't
Oh,
get rid
yeah.
of
We I mean, all of our parents around here, they didn't want us inside playing.
it. Yeah,
Go outside and play.
that was kind of what kids did, right? You went
Yeah.
outside. Nobody stayed
That
inside.
was our social media.
Right. You only stayed inside if you were sick,
Yep.
or if you got in trouble, your parents would ground you and you couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
It was a punishment to stay inside. So anyway, I grew up in this environment of being outside all the time, and I loved it. Never really thought about why I loved it, right? You just loved it. Well, fast forward to about 5 years ago, my dad, who was 84, passed away.
Oh.
And it kind of inspired me to really figure out, okay, I'm 30 years younger than my dad. If I'm lucky, I got 30 more years left. What do I want to do with those 30 years? Let's figure that out. And I was working in a corporate job that paid very well, but I really wasn't very happy, quote unquote, doing the
Right.
job after 20 years. So I started to really do the hard work, on nights and weekends when I was still working at the company to figure out what it was I did want to do with those last 30 years of my life, right? So I thought about, the fact that I always got so much out of nature. How can I bring that to other people to help them get those benefits in this day and age when people aren't outside that much? So I
Right.
started talking to some other people about it. I formed like an advisory board of other people who work in different fields to kind of bounce the idea off of them. And I came up with this idea to start a nonprofit that would actually help people learn ways to connect with nature so they could get the benefits out of it that I knew existed, and I could bring that to other people. So that was the idea that started Nature Worx, and that was in 2017. I ended
Oh,
up doing
wow.
I ended up doing it for 2 years at nights and weekends while I still worked at the company, until I felt like Nature Worx had enough structure and legs under it that I could leave my corporate job. I left
Right.
my corporate job in November of 2019, so it's coming up on 3 years that I've been doing this full time, so to speak. And in that time, we've steadily grown our clientele. We started with 0 clients. Now we have about 25 organizations that bring us in to do Nature Worx for them. So
Oh,
it's really started to get, some good growth under it. COVID was tough because in COVID, a lot of
yeah.
people shut everything down. COVID was really difficult. I don't have to tell you that, but we survived it. And, we're to the point now where we're in pretty good shape.
So, for those people that are watching this or listening to it, something very important that Phil just said, okay, because he started the nonprofit and he built his clientele with 25 organizations, not people, organizations. And I think that's important because that's organization covers a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in turn, if you're helping these organizations, then they're spreading the word even more. And I'm glad you did that because I think a lot of people, when they start a nonprofit, they really don't know how to go about getting those clients or sponsors
Yeah.
or whatever.
Mhm.
And kudos to you for doing that because that's actually smart. And you have some great clients too, don't you?
Yeah, we have a lot of great clients. I mean, we work with a wide variety of organizations.
Hmm.
Many of the organizations we work with are in substance use recovery. So we work with folks who are in a recovery from addiction and substance use disorder. But we also work with veterans up at Perry Point. We work with first responders, Baltimore City Police Department we're working with right now. We work with medical organizations like Harford Hospital to provide Nature Worx to their staff and their medical folks. We work with UMBC to provide sessions right on the campus to students and faculty. So, we work with a broad range of different organizations.
Different organizations, but they all have something in common from what I'm gathering that you just said. I mean, all those different organizations that you named have a lot of stress that goes along with it.
You are spot on, my friend. We think that what we offer can make a huge difference with folks that have a lot of challenges on their backs. Like medical staff for the past few years have been so stressed and overworked.
Hmm.
First responders, same thing. I mean, Baltimore City Police Department's been under tremendous pressure the last few
Yeah,
years. Um, Students and faculty at colleges that had to relearn how they do their work because of COVID. A lot of work went remote. Same with corporations. We work with corporations to take their workforce out. Workforces have been disrupted as well.
hmm,
So it's really rewarding to see our program make an impact with folks who really need it, right?
yeah,
People who tell us in the surveys that come back to us that their stress level just from one Nature Worx session, went down. And we
that's
have a
awesome.
survey that measures that, or their anxiety level or their depression level. We get data after every session of the outcomes, so we can report that. We think that's really important to have evidence that this works, so we can use that to convince other organizations to bring us in, and also to attract grant funding. People who make donations
Hmm.
to nonprofits want to see that it works. And we've got surveys from 2,500 participants over the past since we started that show that
Wow.
it works, right? 94% of our participants say that they have learned ways that nature can support their health and well-being. So we feel like we have a 94% success rate, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
extremely good. Now, all right. So, Phil, I got to ask you this because
Yeah.
you came from the corporate world,
Yes, I did.
which everybody knows. Any corporate company has got a high level of stress that goes along with it, right?
Yeah.
So, have you gone back to that business and made them a client yet?
Yes, actually, I
Are
have.
you are you serious?
I have.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I have a lot of good friends who are still there, and I've contacted a few of them, and they brought me in this summer to do a program with their employees up at Irvine Nature Center in Owens Mills. So
Oh,
the answer is yes. I did go back to my
I
former
love
employer,
it. I
and they
love it.
also they also make a charitable donation to our organization, which is really cool as well.
Wow.
I didn't
And how long were you there for?
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so it's been really cool to see this organization grow. And we've been bringing in really amazing people as guides. We have a team of guides that come from all different backgrounds. Some of them were meditation and yoga instructors. Some were naturalists who worked in nature centers as tour guides at nature centers. Some folks are counselors or teachers. One is a PhD in biology at APG, and he works for us. So they come from a lot of different backgrounds, but every one of our guys has this amazing ability to make this really fun and enjoyable and bring people in. So they're going to want to do it and do it again, connect with nature. So I really hire for that sort of intangible thing that I try to pull out during the interview process. Are you going to be really good leading a group of 20 people through the woods to connect with nature? It's not an easy thing to really get people to experience a lot of this, right? It's
Right.
it's kind of, we're really trying to elicit like real emotions and feelings in here. It's not just pointing out the species when you're out there. Look, that's a bluebird, that's a cardinal. It's not that kind of nature walk, right? It's more about getting people to feel something about this tree that we're standing by. How does this tree maybe inspire you, right? What about this tree is interesting? We get people to really slow down. Just to give you an example of kind of what we do, because a lot of people say, well, what exactly do you do out there? So we have this one activity that's called letting go. And we ask people, usually we're doing this by a creek or a pond. And we ask everybody to find a leaf on the ground that they like. So everybody grabs a leaf. And then we ask them to think about something in their life that they want to let go of, right? Maybe it's a negative emotion or
Right.
a toxic partner or something they want to let go of. And we ask them to visually place that thing on their leaf. And similar to how nature lets go, right? Trees let go of leaves, reptiles let go of their skins, they emerge. Us humans have a harder time letting go. We tend to hold on to our baggage sometimes, right? I'm guilty of
Oh
that.
yeah.
So we ask people to, in that spirit of nature letting go, to let go of your thing or your object or your issue, place it on the leaf, and we ask people to walk over to the edge of the creek, take their leaf and place it into the stream and watch that leaf get carried away by the water and watch it tumble until it's out of sight. So they've kind of symbolically used that leaf to let go.
I
So
love it.
nature is their ally in letting go.
I love it.
So that's one example of the kind of things that we do. We have about
Right.
75 different activities that we can pull out at any given session, depending on where we are, what the weather's like, what the location is, that kind of thing. We've got like an ingredients book, if you will, of 75 different activities like that
Oh wow.
that we've developed over time that we train our people in. So they have these tactics, if you will, at their fingertips. But letting go is one of our favorite ones because people seem to really relate to it.
Yeah.
We also have something called a 5 senses meditation, in which you kind of turn on each one of your senses one by one. We usually do that in the beginning of our session, so everybody's sort of stimuli antenna are up before we go out there. And you can do that one in your backyard as well. You can do the 5 senses meditation pretty much anywhere.
Wow. I need to come out here to one of these classes and
Yes,
take it
you
out.
do. You're welcome to. I think you might.
So I got to do the forest bathing with Christine. I got to do now I got to come and do one of your events. Man, I'm getting involved with a lot of nature here lately.
Now tell me about your background. Are you into nature yourself?
I love camping.
Camping?
Yeah, and I think that came from, well, I was in scouts when I was younger. My family didn't really go camping, but when I was in the Marine Corps, I loved going out in the field. Just loved doing that. And we still go camping every once in a while. My family does, but they spoiled me. See, I was old school. I like to pitch a tent. I like to fish for your food, live on the, yeah, I went through survival training. That's what I love.
Wow.
And yeah, now you go camping, they have bathrooms and showers, and you take your own food. It's like, eh.
That's your idea of camping, right?
Yeah, and now we're usually in a cabin. It's like,
Mm,
okay. But I mean, I do love one of the things I love especially is just going out into nature, even if it's in your own backyard
mm,
and just exploring things. My wife's got a butterfly bush in the backyard.
mm.
I was so thrilled because twice I was able to do this. I'm out there, and at first I thought I saw a yellow jacket, and I looked closer, and it was a hummingbird moth.
Wow.
So I slowly reached, and he actually let me pet his back
Whoa.
on the hummingbird moth. Yeah, so I was able to get 2 pets in, and then he went off to another
Amazing.
bush. But
Wow.
twice I was able to do that, and most people would see a hummingbird moth and think that it is a bee or something. But when you get up close and look at these things and just, not just the insects and everything, but even, like you said, the leaves, the different flowers, just look at it and take it in
Yeah.
and just think about it. It's like amazing how something can, well, it's like the birth of a child. You know, something that small can grow into something so beautiful and so big.
Yeah.
And granted, some of these things are not good for you, like poison ivy or anything, but look how fast that stuff grows. And even in the wintertime, I think what the leaves are gone, but you still have that like a fuzzy vine.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just amazing. I wouldn't want it here, but
Yeah.
so and the crickets just hearing this is the time of the year I love now because hearing the crickets sing. And we always have one down by my office I could hear. I always call him Charlie.
Yeah.
And then he stopped one day and I think a wolf spider got him.
Yeah. What you just described of your experience with the moth is very similar to what we encourage people to do during our program. We go really slow. We don't hike.
Mhm.
We're not trying to cover, 1.3 miles in 2.1 hours. You know how hikers are tracking the
Right. Going out and
track.
enjoying it.
Yeah, they're looking to cover miles. They're
Yeah.
moving through nature. They're not being with nature. So what
Mhm.
we do is slow people down. So when we pass a butterfly bush, like you just described, we're going to stop and we're going to maybe spend 5, sometimes even 10 minutes examining it from different perspectives,
Right.
covering things about it that we maybe didn't notice, thinking about how that inspires us even. We're going to do a lot of activity around basically one object like that because you're going to get deeper into it and
Yeah.
invite people to experience it a little more richly. So Rich, you're basically doing Nature Worx in your backyard. What you did with your moth is really is what
Oh,
it's all about.
I love it. And Mariner Point Park's another place I love going because, and it's weird, even though that's right around the corner from my house, the wildlife there is so different than here. The squirrels here, they don't tend to come out and eat out of your hand. Mariner Point Park, they'll come up and eat out of your hand.
Oh yeah, those black ones,
Um,
yeah.
oh yeah. But one of the things I love, my wife and I were walking through there one day, and I always take birdseed down with me. I I'm patient. I could sit there and hold it. And I actually had a Carolina wren come up and perch herself on my fingers and start eating the birdseed out of my hand. I mean, just stuff like that. It's just I love it, and you feel so connected, and it brings so much joy to you. You know,
That's a
it's
beautiful
amazing.
experience you had with that wren. That is a beauty. I had a similar one up at Eden Mill. You familiar with Eden
Oh
Mill?
yes, very beautiful up there.
Beautiful up there. So we
Hmm.
got a Nature Worx group there, and we're standing by the stream. There's a little sort of sandy area there, and there was a bunch of frog activity going on. And one guy was like trying to catch the frog, um, or touch it or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
He was going after the frog, and the frog kept hopping away. Well, I decided just to kneel down next to the edge of the water and just wait, and just to see what would happen. And I put my hand out just by the water like this,
Uh huh.
and the frog started to look at me, and he hopped over and he came right next to my hand. I was basically touching him. He came to me just like that wren came to you, right? That frog could have gone anywhere to get away from us. That bird could have flown away, but they chose to come to us. And that's that connection. You just can't you can't describe it, right? It's like, it's magical.
They don't feel threatened.
They don't feel
I
threatened.
think that's why.
Us, right?
Yeah.
You were putting a vibe out for that bird where it felt safe, right? And that's one thing we talk about in Nature Worx. When you come out into a natural environment, whether it's the woods or a pond or a stream, you're bringing your own energy to that environment. And everything else that's already there is reading your energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're something different. You're maybe not a usual item there. So when you're out there and you're loud and you're high energy and you're, whatever, things are going to kind of go away from you, right?
Yeah.
You're calm and you're present and you're unthreatening, you see a lot more. So when we start our walks, we talk about this concept. It's called baseline. The forest has a baseline energy, and when you come in, you disturb that baseline, and you can disturb it up here, or you can disturb it just a little bit, depending on how mindful you are. So one of the things we ask people to do during part of our walk is, let's be totally quiet for 5 minutes. So we have a group of 25 human beings walking through the woods, totally quiet, not talking, and just being. And at first, it's hard for people to be quiet. You can tell they want to go like, hey, look at that, look at that. But then it sort of changes, and people tend to almost prefer being quiet at some point, because then you hear more of nature when you're quiet. So we do this experience for 5 minutes where we're just silent as we walk. And then we ask people to reflect on that. And invariably, people say that they were able to hear nature and not listen to each other's babble, right? So being quiet is a big part of what we do at Nature Worx too, because there's enough out there, noise coming at us 24/7, right? We need a time out from that, and nature can give us a really good time out, because it gives us all these other stimuli for our brain to focus on and our senses to experience, that we're not worried about all the other stuff for a while, right? Because we're in the moment, and we're experiencing the wren that just landed on our hand in your example. We're experiencing the frog who came up to our fingers. We're experiencing all of that, and we're not thinking about this project for work, or the argument I have with my wife, or my kid wants to do this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? We're not thinking about that, because nature's giving us this time out. So our whole mission is to help people understand that time out, how they can access it, how they can make it a part of their life. Like I said, even in your backyard, I've got a 1/4 acre here in Bel Air, but I got a couple pine trees, and I got a vegetable garden, and those birds and insects, I got enough to do Nature Worx right in my backyard.
Right.
And most people who watch this program probably do too.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have enough land or even a patio where they could do Nature Worx. So, yeah, we believe that nature is all around us. We're a part of nature. Nature is inside of us, and it's not a destination you go to, right? We are nature. And I think when people realize that, they think differently about their connection to the natural world, and when they realize that they're a part of it.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine, and I have to laugh, because when it comes to nature, especially the animals, I swear I think he is an animal himself or something at times, because I'm talking about you, Paul Majewski. Um, some of these pictures he posts, whether it be raccoons, snakes, or whatever, I have to crack up. And there ain't no way these things are photoshopped or anything, because they're in videos and all, but it's amazing. And he reminds me of me. That stuff doesn't scare him. He likes to be a part of it. And
Yeah.
especially, like, I love snakes, always have.
Really?
Spiders, but snakes, yeah. And matter of fact, I want to put a challenge out there. So everybody watching this, I want you to take some photos of yourself with nature, whether it be wildlife or just enjoying the outside, and post them in the comments. Let us see them, because I just think more people need to get out there and do it, and challenge your kids to do it as well. Tell them to, even if it's in their own backyard, tell them to put down the phone, go out there for 20 minutes, be totally quiet, and just listen. And actually, maybe it could be an exercise. Have them take a journal out there and write down the different sounds that they hear. My wife is good at that. She has some type of app on her phone, and it will pick up all the different types of birds
Mhm.
there are,
Yeah.
because there's so many different birds around here.
Mhm.
And then she'll try to find them.
Mhm.
And I hear one bird. I don't know what it is. I mean, so I just want them to come eat out of my hand. That's all I want. Phil, tell everybody the website again and how they can sign up for these courses.
Sure. So it's www.natureworx, and it's nature, WORX.org. And if you go there and go to our events tab, you'll see all of our upcoming events. They're free and open to the public. We really hope folks have the opportunity to join us on a Saturday morning, first Saturday of every month. We also want to invite anyone who thinks their organization might benefit from our programs to please reach out to us as well. There's a contact us tab on our website. So if you have a company or a church or a school or another nonprofit organization or a organization that works with veterans, or really almost any organization you think could benefit from our program, we would love to talk to you about how we might be able to partner with you and support your organization and your goals.
And one very important thing that is on their website for all of you watching and listening that I want you to hit is the donate button. Go ahead and donate to them, because everything that Nature Worx is doing is fantastic. And you know, the all the people that you're helping out there, I want to thank you for that. And it's because of all these donations that you guys are able to stay running and to provide this to the community. So I want to thank you for that, especially. So hit that donate button, people, and donate to them and sign up for the courses.
Rich,
So,
thank you so much for that. We really appreciate your support. We do rely on private donations as well as grants. So yeah, that's really been the lifeblood of us to be able to be sustainable. So thank you so much for mentioning.
oh, my pleasure. And Phil, I want to thank you for coming on. And whenever you want to come back, God, maybe we could do a live broadcast from an event. Although out in nature, that might be kind of hard to get a signal sometimes.
It might be tough.
Yeah.
What we could try to do though is in your backyard, if you have some trees, we could do a little interview and a little couple of little experiences right there if you want. We've done that before. During COVID, we did Nature Worx via Zoom. So we've done that before. We've done Nature Worx sessions virtually. So that's something to think about. We would be happy to do that.
Yeah, I got to get some trees first.
Yeah, well, the trees help, but you know what? You have plants, whatever.
Well, we had the in-ground pool, and then when I got that dug out, I haven't put back any trees yet.
Still working on that. Working progress.
I got a big bush back there, which I have no idea what it is, but I know the birds love it. And my grills. So
blown away by your Carolina wren. I think that's awesome, man.
I've had them. Wild turkeys come up to me and eat. The squirrels, of course. I've been trying to get a fox too. The foxes won't yet, of course.
And do you have some snakes down in your area? I guess you do, since you're into snakes.
Oh, all right. So I got to tell you this real quick, and some of the viewers will probably get a kick out of this. So in my neighborhood, the neighbors know if they have a snake, you either call me or one of our other neighbors, Brian, because we'll get rid of them. It's against the law to kill them anyways.
Yep.
Well, my wife had found out that I was getting all these garter and black snakes from the neighbors, and I was bringing them over and putting them in my backyard.
You're making a sanctuary.
My wife got upset. She does not like that at all. So now I've been taking them to Copenhagen Park instead. I told her, look, if we have the snakes back there, we don't have to worry about any rodents.
No, you don't. Not at all.
So she didn't care. She didn't like that. I don't mind having the snakes back there, but like I said, spiders or even the hornets or the wasps.
Yeah.
No, I don't want them. So
yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of black snakes and garters, probably some water snakes down there.
Back at Mariner Point Park, we have a lot of water snakes. Once in a while, you might see a copperhead.
At Mariner, you've seen a copper?
Huh?
At Mariner Point, you've seen a copperhead?
Yeah, once.
Yeah. Okay.
Once. And what was it? There was another type of snake. It wasn't venomous. Well, you only have two venomous snakes here: the copperhead and the rattlesnake.
Right.
But the one was, it may have been a milk snake. It was a pretty snake.
Okay.
But growing up here before Mariner Point was a park. We used to go back there looking for snakes all the time and bring them home
Yeah.
and keep them. And our parents did not like it, or at least my parents didn't like it. Always had to keep it at my friend's house,
Yeah.
But oh yeah, it just I've always found snakes fascinating.
Yeah, snakes are misunderstood. A lot of
Yeah.
people have this really deep-seated fear of them. I'll
Hmm.
tell you a funny story. During a Nature Worx session we did up at Swan Harbor, you know where Swan Harbor is,
Oh
up on
yeah. Hmm.
the bay. We're walking through the woods going down to the water there, and all of a sudden I heard this scream. And one of the women had seen a snake along with a couple of other people, and she just screamed and hightailed it out of there. She was sprinting as fast as an Olympic sprinter, I think, up this hill, and she wasn't a young woman either. And she just hightailed it. And I was like, well, somebody's got to go get her and make sure she's okay, because I was like, she really had this thing, for snakes. Like, she didn't want anything to do with them.
Now I'm that way with a spider.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been bitten twice by a brown recluse,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, the
Wow.
one time when I was stationed in Paris Island,
Wow.
I was laid up in the hospital for a week. I
Jeez.
thought I was going to have to start, basic training all over again. Luckily, I didn't.
Jeez.
The second time, I'm not sure if it was a brown recluse or not, but I knew I had got bitten by a spider, and called my doctor right away. He told me just go to the emergency room. And then the third time, I knew it was a spider again. You could tell by the bite. And
Got two
called
marks.
my
Bang mark.
and my doctor said, all right, I'm just gonna give you a prescription. So
Yeah.
but yeah, the first time, oh man, that thing was my calf swelled up. It was the size of my thigh.
Yeah.
It was nasty. And I've
Yeah.
been bitten by snakes before. That didn't, not venomous ones, but that
Yeah.
really didn't bother me.
Yeah. And, people definitely have fears of different things in nature. And we try to talk those through. If people say that they're afraid of this, that, or the other, we like
Hmm.
to talk it through, because we feel like, when you provide some facts and some information behind it, people are maybe a little bit less afraid, or at least
Yeah.
know more about what they're dealing with. They're not dealing with some myth, or something that they read on the internet that's not true. So yeah, but then we definitely have people that, have different fears of snakes, spiders, whatever. And we try to, talk it through, and usually
Yeah.
get a little more comfortable. We definitely offer people insect repellent before we go out, for spiders and ticks and everything else.
Chiggers.
Chiggers, you spray the bottom part of your pants leg and your shoes, and they won't crawl up on you.
Yeah.
You don't need to spray your whole body. You spray the bottom part of your legs and your shoes, and that usually works pretty well. But yeah, there's a lot of critters out there, a lot of different critters. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have spiders and snakes. They they control insect pests. They control rodent pests. You know,
Exactly.
they're part of that interdependent web that we all need.
That's what cracks me up when people say, "Oh God, I got a snake in my yard. Get rid of it." Okay. Do you want mice?
Yeah. And spiders kill mosquitoes and all kinds of other critters in their web. So they're doing a good job too for us.
Yeah.
So there's different aspects.
Everything has a reason to be here.
Exactly.
And it's this, what do they call it? The circle of life.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. We're all part of it.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, look at honeybees. God, how great they are. You know, now they serve a good purpose. I'm not sure about the yellow jackets
Yeah.
or the hornets, but
Have you ever encountered a ground hornet nest?
I actually, it was a ground yellow jacket nest.
Ground yellow jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rode over
And
one of those.
I got nailed 7 times.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. My lawnmower ran over, I guess, their
Yep.
nest. They came right at me, and they hit my calf. I had short pants on. I felt this pop, 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 pop,
Yep.
yellow jackets nailing me.
Well, what I did, because they said with a gas powered mower, it vibrates the ground and it disturbs them. So after I got nailed, I got rid of my lawnmower and I went to a lawn service. I don't have the lawn service anymore. Instead, I went and bought a battery operated lawnmower. But I also have waspinators hanging up in my yard. And it was my neighbor that told me about that. He would take like brown trash bags and crumple them up and hang them, because supposedly if a wasp sees another nest, they won't build another nest 100 feet, like
Oh,
100 feet from
wow,
it or something like
really?
that. Yeah.
How about
So I
boy?
out back, I have one that looks like an actual hornet's nest, and you'll see them flying around, but I haven't seen any nest.
That's fascinating. It's almost like decoy form, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's fascinating.
And I got one hanging out front. So I knock on wood, I haven't had any problems, and hopefully I don't because they hurt.
Yeah, they do. It's interesting that that decoy concept. You're speaking their language visually. You're putting that
Yeah.
visual marker up, and you're actually communicating in that way with those insects, which is fascinating in of itself.
But it cracks me up because the one out front, actually both of them, spiders love them.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I guess the spiders are waiting for these wasps to come into their spider web
Right.
or something.
It makes sense. They're taking the bait too, right? They're going, okay, I'm going to hang out here.
It's like,
Fascinating.
sorry guys, here. Why don't you catch some lantern flies instead? We
Yeah,
don't
lantern
need
fly,
them.
that's a good idea.
So, Phil,
Yeah.
thanks a lot. It was great talking to you, and continue success with Nature Worx. And I will definitely get out to one of these courses.
That would be great. Yeah, we'd love to have you out there. Thank you again for having us on today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. You're doing a great service for the county, so keep up the
Thank you.
great work.
Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely.
Zen Buddhists believe that nature contains the Word of God, that Scripture is written into the landscape. Artists and poets have shown us that nature contains many layers of exquisite beauty that are revealed if we take the time to observe. Scientists have proven that spending quality time in nature boosts humans' physical, mental, and emotional health. But so many of us have become isolated from the healing benefits of the natural world. We have retreated indoors, where we spend 93% of our time. For 10 hours a day, we are looking at screens, processing a never-ending stream of information. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected. Obesity, stress, anxiety, depression, and substance use disorder have increased exponentially. At Nature Worx, we provide an antidote to the stressful, disconnected lifestyles that are so prevalent today. We take people outside to go inside. Our goal is to help you see nature as a supportive ally for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. So we've designed a series of experiences and activities specifically to help you connect with the healing properties of nature and to connect with yourself. Nature Worx has built a talented team of professional guides who are skilled in mindfulness, meditation, forest therapy, and group facilitation. They lead groups of people on immersive, experiential sessions that open a door for you to develop a relationship with the natural world that is supportive and reciprocal. You may never see nature or yourself the same way again. One of the activities we invite people to experience during Nature Worx involves letting go. Nature has a great way of letting go. Trees shed their leaves, reptiles emerge from their skins. But us people sometimes have a harder time letting go. We tend to hold on to our baggage. But nature can help us do that through an intentional activity where we invite people to place their problem or issue that they want to let go of on a leaf, and then walk over to a stream like this and let their problem on their leaf float away. Our skilled team is ready to help you and your organization integrate the healing power of mindful time in nature for your clients, employees, or students. Our programs have demonstrated successful outcomes with more than 1,000 people since 2017. Over 95% of our participants report in surveys that they learned ways that nature can support their health and well-being. We can tailor our content to deliver a custom program that meets your needs, time constraints, and schedule. We're confident that we can improve your outcomes, boost engagement, effectiveness, and achievement.
Hey, I'm Abby, and I really love Nature Worx for a few reasons. My first reason is because you can be very raw and vulnerable with people while you're walking and talking and getting lost in thought. It's really special to be vulnerable with people and open while you're actually experiencing open and natural world around you. It also showed me how resilient I am. I kind of compared myself to a tree, how trees can stand straight and tall through any type of weather, and I can stand straight and tall and strong through any hardship I go through. It also helped me realize that weather impacts my mood a lot. Whether it's rain, sun, or like wind, just being outside helps me be a happier human.
It was after a certain time in my life when when things were very difficult in terms of there being a lot of chaos and a lack of clarity, and Phil and the rest of the people at Nature Worx being able to provide a space that was centered on helping us all kind of let go of the everyday distractions and instead focus on what a naturally cathartic and rejuvenating place in nature can be. That is really the impact that Nature Worx had on me, and just the overall vibe and fellowship that was created there gave me a chance to really underscore and notice how much purposeful nature interaction gives us because of how we're just made for it and how we just naturally react in a positive, healthy way where we just tend to get better as people.
Contact us at natureworx.org. We look forward to connecting nature with you soon.